lights are out and you stumble in the dark. You kept pushing on, but then you went too far. When your ship has sailed and all your dreams are lost, everything is wrong, you feel like it's your fault. Just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life feels lemons, just call me. Just call me. Just call me. Just call me. You're stronger now than you ever been. You gotta leave now, it's time to catch the wind. You will climb up high and look through the clouds. And when you're feeling low, I know you'll bounce back. Oh, and just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call me. Just call me. Just call me. Just call me.
From Charlotte Motor Speedway, the Tuesday Night NASCAR Truck Series is just outside the headquarters of all that is racing in the southeastern United States. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Concord, North Carolina, where the Truck Series looks to put on a show even more exciting than our nail-biting 600-miler on Sunday night here at the Mile and a Half Oval, formerly known as Lowe's Motor Speedway. Last week at North Wilkesboro, Jeremy Paris continued his 2024 winning ways, collecting his fourth checkered flag. Paris has a 16-point lead over Tane Hoddison, who manages to hold on to second place in our championship point standings and is still in search of win number one of the 2024 campaign. Norman, Oklahoma's Brandon Minto has come close so many times in the Truck Series, but also has yet to seal the deal in victory lane. We'll see if those two drivers can pull it together here in the finale at Charlotte Motor Speedway for the SNN Series. Tonight, here on Sim Racing Media, I'm Dave Regal with you in the Tony Trapasso Memorial Broadcast booth, and as always, I'm thrilled to be with you every step of the way. From the green flag to the checkered flag, right here on Sim Racing Media. And folks, as always, it's a joy to be with you tonight as we get ready to rock and roll here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Qualifying well underway. In fact, most drivers already completing their qualifying runs. Tommy Gossett in his debut here in this series, here in the 92 Ford F-150. He's just getting himself, that is the slowest warm-up lap I think I've ever seen. I hope he's not practicing for pace laps, because after what we saw last night in the Xfinity Series, it was an incredible show as far as getting things done here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Alexander Gangler just gets the 8 truck moving into 22nd position. We're still waiting on Jeremy Paris, Rich Jett, Steve Herring, John Wilco out of McAdoo, Pennsylvania. Stoney Benfield, the faster pastor, getting ready to come out now as he's just getting the old F-150 warmed up. Cape May, New Jersey's Mike McConville, Brandon Hinton, Richard Pruitt, and Mitchell Davies all still waiting to come on out. We'll take a look here at our point standings from high above the racetrack in our blimp cam as we take a peek here. Jeremy Paris with 350 points, just 16 ahead of Tane Hodison. Of course, with 334, Brandon Minto running in third right now. You can see all the way down here, John Wilco out of McAdoo, Pennsylvania. He's 100 points between 6th position and our leader, Jeremy Paris. And here's the thing. He's not been one bit discouraged in his finishes this year. John Wilco is a perfect example of consistency, 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 as Benny Parsons would have said back on the NBC days in NASCAR 99. You know, here's the deal. He makes sure that he runs as many laps as he can in as many events as he can and makes sure that he gets it done, whether he's, in the top 5 or the bottom 5. He's still completing as many laps as possible. Jacob Schneider running in 8th position. Sylvain Joly from our Canadian contingent running in 14th position. Daniel Moynihan out of Boston, Massachusetts. Yes, that Boston, with 184 points in his number 53 Dunkin' Donuts Ford F-150. So it's been an interesting week here, as I was just mentioning. Of course, we're here to finalize the week in the SNN Family of Racing Series as the National Guard number 1 Chevrolet Silverado rolls it out of turn number 4. He's heading back toward the start-finish line. That's Mike McConville out of Cape May, New Jersey. Finished 2nd position last night on the podium as McConville goes 27th fastest. So he obviously was working on getting some... Whoa, that's going to suck. As he gets it loose, he goes dirt tracking through turns 1 and 2 and now launches it onto the back chute. That's going to be a problem for him as the faster pastor, Stoney Benfield, just went 13th fastest on the timing line in his F-150. Jeremy Paris, our points leader, coming out now as he's about a quarter of the way through his qualifying run. Let's see if McConville only qualifies 22nd position. Jeremy Paris out of Flowery Branch, Georgia, gets the 05, and look at this, finally a paint scheme worthwhile here on the 05. We've been talking about it for the last couple of weeks. We're trying to get Jeremy Paris a sponsor, and he gets that tonight as his first lap nets him 28th, so he's obviously putting some heat into the tires, trying to get some grip on there. He's almost doing the same thing McConville did. He gets dangerously close to that bottom line between the racing surface and the apron. As he hauls it down the back chute and into turn number 3, we see him rotating, and he's not tight at all as he's got this thing dialed in. That thing is on a rail coming out of 4 and into the quad oval, and as he crosses the start-finish line, Jeremy Paris going to be timed P1 and goes from 28th to the pole position with a 29.4 second lap, 1/100th of a second faster than Tommy Gossett in the 92. Alexander Gangler goes 26th fastest, while Kavaja Holt here in the 00 from Waynesboro looks like he's just kind of taking his time. He's trying to find his way around the racetrack. He kind of wiggles down there as, of course, somebody decides that they want to go blasting down my street. Still waiting for Richard Pruitt, Rich Jett, Mitchell Davies, Brandon Hinton, John Wilco, and Steve Herring as Kavaja Holt goes 17th fastest. In fact, let's see if we can get a hold of old John Wilco here. What is Chris Claude watching? He's watching the race. As we go looking here. And, of course, I can't find John Wilco in our Discord channel. So, next best thing, that's for sure, is going to be Brandon Minto, driver of the number 12 out of Norman, Oklahoma. Hey, Brandon, it's Dave up in the booth. You got me?
I got you, Dave.
Buddy, listen, it's going to be a rough run tonight, I'm fairly certain, but I don't see you here on the timing line. Where are you, sir? There we are, 6th position. What's going to be your strategy tonight?
I hate to say it, but once again, just trying to survive. It seems like every week that I try to say that. In one of our interviews, I end up getting wrecked shortly afterwards, but just trying to make it all 134 laps tonight. That's the ideal scenario. Try to get some good points, hopefully go for the win, but Jeremy Paris is fast week after week, so it's going to be tough to beat him. We got a lot of good names up front, so it's going to be a tough one.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head. Jeremy Paris is very tough to get around. 4 wins on the season. Still none for you. I mean, here's the thing. No, you notched a win, correct?
In the Xfinity Series, I did. In the trucks, I don't.
Yeah, listen, you gotta catch yourself a dub right here in the truck series. I mean, look, you run 3rd position. That's right. Here we are. You run 3rd position. You fell behind Tane Hodison last week as you swapped spots. Now you trail Tane Hodison by just a little bit. Of course, it looks like about 18 points to Hodison. What's going to be, if you've got a chance to either, dump him or get those points, what's going to be the move?
I'm not a dirty driver, Dave. You know I ain't gonna dump nobody.
Just making sure that you're not going to be laying some kind of Kraft Easy Mac down the back chute for him.
No way. I couldn't waste some Kraft Easy Mac all over the backstretch like that. But no, it's just he's raced me clean every race we've had all season, and I wasn't lucky, and I forgot what week it was, but I had to miss one race, so there was a lot of points down the drain for me, and that's how Tane ended up jumping me. But me and him have been joking about it a lot. I'm like, the only way you can actually pass me in the standings is by me just not even showing up to the racetrack. But no, I've always raced him clean. He's always raced me clean, so I definitely wouldn't make no dirty move on him.
All right, buddy. Well, listen, good luck tonight as you go ahead and get things warmed up there in the old number 12 F-150. Maybe we'll see you on the other side as you go out here and battle it out in the finale at Charlotte.
I sure hope so. Talk to you later, Dave.
That, of course, the voice of the great Brandon Minto out of Norman, Oklahoma. Uncle Scott usually tuning in and checking him out here in the YouTube.com live chat. Make sure that if you are watching us live on YouTube, that if you haven't done so already, why haven't you? Make sure that you subscribe and turn on those bell notifications for Sim Racing Media. That way you can be notified every time we go live, as it looks like Richard Putnam cheering on Minto. Obviously, we just heard from Brandon. We're going to get a quick look here at our qualifying results. As all things considered, it's going to be a busy night on the racetrack. 134 laps the scheduled distance. Jeremy Paris going to be sitting on the pole position in the Days of Thunder team. Tommy Gossick going to sit on his outside. Looks like we see some interesting names mixed into the middle here. Brandon Minto starting 6th. Some of the Canadian contingent, Sylvain Joly and Gabriel Lafreniere. Jeff Carson out of the CSS stable. He's out here starting in 9th position. Kavaja Holt in 17th. Again, I say it every week, but Kavaja is one of those drivers that you just have to keep an eye on. He's not going to be held down. He's not going to be kept, nobody puts Kavaja in the corner, kind of like nobody puts Baby in the corner. Randall Watkins, Mr. 305, going to be starting on the inside of row number 7 tonight, and it looks like Mike McConville, after that little bobble there during his qualifying effort, going to be starting in 24th. We'll get to all of that in just a few moments, but first, I want to see if we can get a hold of some of these drivers here. We'll see who's available in the live chat. In fact, let's go ahead and get a hold of Ethan Eckert, driver of the number 11. Hey, Ethan, it's Dave up in the booth. You got me?
Yeah, I do.
Buddy, listen, you're going to be rolling off early tonight. What are you thinking as we get, ready to rock and roll here in the finale?
I'm thinking I'm just going to chill for a little bit, maybe try to get some stage points or something, and then really just make sure my truck's there for the end.
Yeah, I mean, chilling for a little bit is, I told you before, that's the keys to the race for you, young man. You're fast, but you got to be disciplined behind the wheel. It looks like you're starting on the inside of row 3. So, you're going to be behind Rabbi Ben Garrity and, of course, Jeremy Paris. You're going to have to think about maybe going single file. Is that going to be some of the strategy here, or is it going to be full send after 20 laps?
Well, I'm not too sure when stages are, so I'll probably push it right then the stage and I'm going to try to save tires as much as I can, which, yeah, that does involve going single file. So, yeah, just try to make sure I'm there.
All right, buddy. Well, listen, good luck tonight, and maybe we'll see you on the other side.
Yeah, thank you.
That, of course, the voice of Ethan Eckert, somebody who I'm going to have to start calling Joseph Lester 2.0, as the young man is fast. He's just got to learn some discipline here on the racetrack. And speaking of the racetrack, let's take a look at those current conditions. 71 degrees in the stands tonight. And this is just about the most comfortable that it's been ambient air temperature-wise in the stands all weekend long. 75 degrees on the asphalt, and that's the coolest that we've seen the asphalt. I mean, you know, on Sunday we, of course, you know, that race has about 4 different transitions that the track goes through, from starting in the late afternoon heat to coming, you know, at the very end we're getting, total cover of night. Yesterday, track temperature was all but at 133 degrees, so it was loose, it was slick. And now today, with that temperature coming down, we're seeing those times go down, which means that the speeds are up at 29.66 right now during warm-up. And in fact, to Ethan's point there, let's pull this up here. 134 laps, the total scheduled distance tonight for these drivers. Stage 1 going to conclude at the end of lap number 30. Stage 2 concluding at the end of lap number 60. The driver's going to have 4 sets of tires, so that puts the pit window somewhere in and around 35 to 50 laps. So we should see stages 1 and 2 go just about according to plan, and then they should have a spare set, God forbid that they should need it, coming into the final stage. The warm-up segment is over. We're waiting for drivers to hop into their trucks, as Jeremy Paris has yet to do so. Ben Garrity gets into his. Ethan Eckert, we're waiting on Jeremy Paris, Claude Ferlin, Noah Hamilton, Diego Rodriguez, Ryan Rose, Ethan Ball, Mike McConville, Matt Metler. Come on, guys. We got to get in here. I can't see Jeremy Paris deciding that he's suddenly going to start from pit road. Looks like Ethan Ball, Mike McConville, Nick Hansen all jumping to the pits. And Jeremy Paris, so that's going to shuffle things around here atop the pile. Tommy Gossick going to start from the pole position. He's going to be followed by Benjamin Garrity in the 65. Claude Ferlin from north of the border, he's going to be starting on the inside of row number 2, while Ethan Eckert going to roll off now on the outside of row number 2. Brandon Minto out of Norman, Oklahoma is going to be featured in row number 3 alongside of Saint-Eustache, Quebec native Sylvain Joly in row 3. Row 4 going to feature St. Jude's very own Gabriel Lafreniere with Jeff Carson in row 4. Row 5 featuring Noah Hamilton and Anthony Savignano, while Ron Fitting and Randall Watkins going to be in row 6. Row 7 is Stoney Benfield and Diego Rodriguez, while Matt Mackin and Ryan Rose starting in row 8. Row 9 featuring Kavaja Holt and Tane Hoddesum, while Mason Hoffner and Michael Wick going to be in row 10. Chris Custer and Daniel Moynihan start in row number 11, while row 12 featuring Chris Claude, Chief Cook and Bottle Washer here alongside of Alexander Gangler. Matt Metler and Rich Jett starting in row 13, while Mitchell Davies, Steve Herring, Brandon Hinton, John Wilco, and Richard Pruitt going to be starting shotgun on the field. 31 drivers to take the green flag tonight. It's going to be 35 total drivers as Nick Hansen, Ethan Ball, Mike McConville, and Jeremy Paris all appear to be starting from pit road. So Benjamin Garrity going to be your pole sitter right now as he and Tommy Gossick come out of turn number 4. The only thing that's left to do is it's time to wipe the visor and adjust the 5-point harness. Grandma, grab some popcorn, call a friend, settle in. Race fans, it's show time! Ben Garrity already under assault from Tommy Gossett, who works the inside. Ethan Eckert sniffing the rear bumper of the 65. Lap 3 showing on the board as the pair. Whoa! There's the 92. Oh, and he takes out Eckert. It's pandemonium in the ring. Oh, my God. The entire field is wrecking. This all starts up here with the 92 of Tommy Gossett, who is somehow still running forward. I'm pretty sure that he now has a bunch of angry Hornets behind him as we're going to go back to this. This is absolutely the worst way that you could ever start a race. Here's Tommy in the 92. He's coming out of turn 2. He gets bit with the cold tire bug. Ethan Eckert goes to avoid him, can't do it. Everybody else behind him checks up because there's no tire smoke at this point. Randall Watkins gets rear-ended by the 75 of Stoney Benfield. I have to do this in slow-mo because, my God, it's moving all too fast as the rest of the field checks up for safety. I don't think I've ever seen a race start that poorly. And if he didn't before, Tommy Gossett now has a target as big as that blue oval Ford F-150 on the back of his car than anybody I've ever seen. Obviously, cold tires were not his friend here. A lot of these drivers now coming down pit road, having to get some repair done here. Claude Ferland cycles up to the race lead, and even he's in a scarred number 43 Axon LED Toyota Tundra. He's going to be followed by Ben Garrity, Kavaja Holt, Randall Watkins, Ron Fitting, Mason Hoffner, Tane Hodison, Matt Mackin, Ryan Rose, and Daniel Moynihan. Got to make sure we don't confuse him with Bobby Moynihan. Claude Ferland coming back down pit road as it looks like he wants to get some more repair done here on the 43. 4 laps in the books as he comes on down. And look at the collection of cars just sitting on pit road as I don't know what the 43 thought he was doing. In fact, just for so, I want to take a run back and see whatever he thought he was doing. I think he blew the old engine here. Oh, he had a disconnect. A disconnect and then just silence. Not sure what that was all about, but that's going to put Claude Ferland back up here as he comes back around. Ben Garrity is cycled to the race lead. He's got Kavaja Holt alongside of him. Randall Watkins, Ron Fitting, Mason Hoffner, Tane Hodison, Ryan Rose, Matt Mackin, Michael Witt, Daniel Moynihan, your top 10. After an incredibly awful start to this race as the 92 gets loose and essentially takes out half the field while he scampers away almost unscathed. Ben Garrity controlling the field as he and Kavaja Holt side by side coming out of turn number 4 behind the iRacing.com pace car. We're going to ride along with Kavaja as we get ready to rock and roll here. Kavaja Holt out of Waynesboro waits for Ben Garrity to hit the Geico restart zone. Garrity hops onto the loud pedal and we're back underway. We can hear Kavaja rolling through the gears, getting it done here in the Chevrolet Silverado, as now we have a nice and easy start here. He looks back and sees Randall Watkins, who is now just about in the best position that he's been all year to have some success here. He's got to manage to hold off a lot of strong drivers behind him. But Randall Watkins here in the early goings on lap number 6 has a lot to prove here for the Miami-Dade Fire and Rescue Squad. That department down there, of course, where he spent his career. As my brother from another mother decides that he's going to go out here and get the old F-150 cranked up to crazy. A pair of Chevrolets and his Ford F-150, a Toyota behind, and everybody else pretty Chevy heavy tonight. Ben Garrity already opening up a 7/10 of a second lead over Kavaja Holt. He's hit that clear air right now. Tommy Gossett, though, in the 92, just laid down fastest time at 30.4, and now Ben Garrity at 30.01. Just blew that time out of the water. And quite frankly, I don't think anybody wants to see Tommy Gossett get back up into the top 5 anytime soon. There's going to be a contingent of defensive driving classes moving through here as Brandon Hinton works over top of Gossett, and right now Chief Cook and Bottle Washer Chris Claude is holding the door shut on the 92 to hold him back here into 16th position. Claude runs in 15th, while Anthony Savignano runs the number 50 Bass Pro Shops Chevrolet Silverado. Fastest time right now at 29.64 seconds. Chris Custer out of Ohio has the 66 Coca-Cola Zero machine. Attaboy. Always got to be careful with the Coke Zero. We'll talk about Coke Zero in just a little while here, but Benjamin Garrity leads Kavaja Holt in the early goings here on lap number 10. Of course, as I had mentioned, we're working our way toward lap number 30, so about 20 to go in stage 1 as Randall Watkins all over the rear bumper of Kavaja Holt as we're going to ride along here with Randall. And as he starts to close in, we can see Kavaja giving just a little bit of a wiggle. I'm not sure if that's Kavaja trying to break up the draft intentionally or if he's just got a lot of race car to hold on to right now. In fact, let's see if we can get a good look here at Kavaja's hands while we work through lap number 11. As Kavaja comes down the back chute, we can see just outside of that rear mirror, that rear window, Randall Watkins. It looks like Kavaja right now dealing with a loose race truck, but not too much for him to handle, as we've seen him for the last several years in this league, battling it out with some of the biggest names in iRacing. As Randall Watkins chases him down, now Watkins going to have to hold off Michael Witt in the 88. There's just about, a tenth of a second between those two drivers. As just behind, we're starting to see a little bit of action here with Ron Fitting in the 3 car over on the low side of the 05, as Jeremy Paris has now gone from I'm starting on pit road to battling it out as he nearly gets the kiss of death out of the 3. And now Ron Fitting holding off the 50 and the 05. I guess he wants to keep it even. Now the 85 of Ryan Rose and his Coca-Cola machine. And you can do what you want, but Coke Zero is the way to go. Coca-Cola just, let's just say, not great for you. I got to tell you, I mean, my love affair with Coke Zero came by accident, and now it's just a way of life. In fact, I had a Coca-Cola last night, and it just was almost too sweet, made my face pucker. Ryan Rose here in the 85 trying to work his way up to Daniel Moynihan as he's now working just underneath in the Coke machine. All of a sudden, he's got Alexander Gangler on the high side in the 8 truck, and believe me, I'm always proud to see the 8 truck running strong here, as that was my last truck before coming up here to the broadcast booth for good. As it turned out, I was a better broadcaster than I was a driver. As the Mountain Dew throwback machine now runs in 10th position. So Alexander Gangler trying to poise himself to get that stage point here. 16 laps in the books, 14 to go in stage 1 as we work through turns 1 and 2. We take a look up here at Anthony Savignano, and all of a sudden I'm having connection issues with my mouse. This is great. Apparently the mouse doesn't like to be left alone up here. Michael Witt right now running in 5th position, all of a sudden getting a run on Randall Watkins, and Watkins causing Witt to have to check up on lap 17 just before the quad oval, so now Witt's going to have to find out a new way to try to get a hold of Watkins. All of a sudden we go 3 wide, the 50 dips down below the line to avoid almost sure disaster. Randall Watkins runs in 4th position behind Tane Hodison in the 93. Hodison gets the Menards Toyota Tundra up here into 3rd position. He's up 16 spots from where he had qualified back in 19th. And they are back here like kids fighting in the back of a station wagon. Somebody better be careful before Mom turns this thing around. Jeremy Paris just drifted right up in front of the 85, and all of a sudden, here comes Tommy Gossett. After wrecking half the field in the opening lap, Tommy Gossett on the recovery drive is all the way back up here to 9th position. Kavaja Holt being challenged by Ben Garrity as they go side by side into turns 1 and 2. All of a sudden, a battle breaking out for the lead here on lap number 21, 10 to go in stage 1. As all of a sudden, I told you, listen, it was bound to happen. Kavaja Holt going to come up here and challenge for the lead. He has worked his tail off to get to this point in his season. Every week we see him in this league trying to work his way through the field. And tonight, thanks to a crazy start to the beginning of the race, Kavaja Holt able to overtake Ben Garrity here and get that lead away from him as he slides down in front to secure the lead away from Ben Garrity. Michael Witt now being passed by Tommy Gossett, who apparently has found a different gear in the 92. You have to remember, he didn't really have a whole lot of damage on there after that initial wreck at the beginning of the race, as now Tommy Gossett straps on the hairnet to serve lunch to Randall Watkins here on 23. And Randall Watkins is a fireman. He's going to drive that thing defensively. He's going to drift right up in front of Gossett. Oh, my God. Go get him, brother! Randall Watkins throws the block in front of the 92 and says, "Not today, my friend, not today." Now Tommy Gossett gets just alongside of Randall Watkins, throws it in front of him, and now we look to see, the caution comes out. Let's see what happened here from Mason Hoffner, as something bad must have happened. We're going to watch Mason Hoffner here in the 30 machine as they roll out of turn 4. Hoffner, he kisses the apron, drifts up, right in front of Jeff Carson. That's going to be frustrating to the Carson man out of Cross Junction, Virginia. And Mason Hoffner, you can't win the race driving backwards, as he spins it around like a movie and gets back going forward. Kavaja Holt poised to try to take the Stage 1 win away from Ben Garrity. Tane Hodison going to be restarting in P3. Tommy Gossett all the way back up here to 4th now on his recovery drive. Randall Watkins going to be restarting here in the top 5 with Daniel Moynihan, Anthony Savignano, Michael Witt, Ron Fitting, and Chris Custer making up your top 10. Kavaja Holt just coming down here maybe to check things out on the apron. Ben Garrity and Tane Hodison in pursuit here behind the iRacing.com pace car. Want to welcome everybody into the YouTube.com live chat. Let us know who you're watching, what you're pulling for here tonight, as we work lap number 26 of 134 on our way to lap number 30 at the conclusion of stage number 1. Dave Regal with you here in the Tony Trapassa Memorial Broadcast booth. As always, very thankful for everybody tuning in tonight. As we, here in this league, there's a lot of guys who spend a lot of time practicing, and we do the same thing here on Sim Racing Media. Of course, after 400 laps on Sunday night, 200 last night, and now 134 laps tonight, basically we're at nearly 1,000 laps at Charlotte Motor Speedway for the week. Drivers getting themselves all ready to rock and roll once again here as they come out of turn 2 and down the backstretch. Still 32 cars on the lead lap from Kavaja Holt all the way back to Sylvain Jolie. John Wilco running in 31st. Mike McConville in 15th. He's already up 9 positions after starting on pit road, and a lot of these machines already torn up after a rough beginning to this race here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. The iRacing.com pace car bringing us into turn 3. The iRacing.com pace car makes the hard left turn down pit road. Kavaja Holt waiting, hits the Geico restart zone, drops the hammer, and we're back underway. 3 laps to go in stage 1. Kavaja Holt holding off the 93 of Tane Hodison in the closing laps of stage 1. Tane Hodison all over the rear bumper of Kavaja Holt, but it's just too much too soon for him to try to get around Kavaja. Now Kavaja drifts up the racetrack. That opens the door for just a second, as now he has to hold off the 65 of Benjamin Garrity. Garrity getting a little bit of a draft push from the 92 as he nearly makes contact with Kavaja in the 00. They haul it down into turn number 1. All of a sudden, Ben Garrity, our race leader, with Tommy Gossett running in P2. They haul it down the backstretch. Ben Garrity now trying to hold off Tommy Gossett. And he does so successfully as they haul it down out of turn 4 into the quad oval, and we go under caution. For the third time tonight, this would be the stage caution, but for some reason I think this is a caution for cause as I'm waiting to see who winds up sideways. I don't see anybody drifting back in the standings here, so I'm not sure who did it, but it's not good. Looks like Michael Witt may have been involved in this. Let's see what happened. Well, Michael Witt's already facing the wrong direction. Let's see which way Mike went. I don't think you're supposed to go that way. As we're going to look from high above here on the blimp cam, Michael Witt drops down in front of Chris Custer in the 66. He makes contact with the 27, bounces off of Ron Fitting, and then just rubs up against the wall. Ben Garrity leads the parade down pit road as it's now wholesale pit stop time at the end of stage number 1. Ben Garrity, after starting in third position, comes on down pit road. Now all of a sudden my mouse doesn't want to work properly. This is great. Thank you so much, Logitech. Going to get a chance to talk to Ben Garrity in just a moment here on the iRacing.com live chat. Hey, Ben, it's Dave up in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Yep.
Man, listen, you wound up driving all the way back up here to get back to the front after the early wreck from the 92. What's going to be the strategy here in stage 2 as we get ready to roll again?
Try and get back to the front again and past all the people that didn't pit. I don't know how it's going to go, but I just made some adjustments on my car to get it completely dialed in. It was already decent, though.
It definitely was. You obviously put the fear of God in the 92 as he backed off pretty quick. I mean, you know, all things considered, is it going to be more of a full send situation here as now you're going to be restarting in 7th position behind Rose, Gangler, Minto, Pruitt, Metler, and Gossett? What's going to be the way that you get around those drivers?
Take it slow. I mean, I have better tires than all of them. Shouldn't be too hard. Well, it probably will be. But just try and work my way up methodically.
See, there it is, folks. Patience, Pittsburgh, and Pennsylvania. The 3 Ps all together for Benjamin Garrity, as the young man has more maturity than half of the drivers on the field tonight. Of course, listen, Ben, if you want to pop your head in there to Joe Gibbs Racing and tell the 11 that that's how you got to get it done, a little bit of patience, give him some Pennsylvania knowledge right there in the old noggin.
Heck yeah.
All right, buddy, good luck.
Thank you.
Going to move him on back up here to the Blackhawk Motorsports stable, as for some reason my mouse doesn't want to work. This is great. Drivers getting themselves all kinds of stacked back up. Going to go 2x2 Noah's Ark style as we come down the front stretch. Ryan Rose with control of the field just ahead of Alexander Gangler, who's going to restart here on the outside of row number 1. They've got about 6 lap older tires. Ben Garrity and Tommy Gossett, the first 2 drivers who just came down pit road. They're going to be restarting in 6th and 7th as Matt Metler, the last driver with the older tires, restarting here in 5th position. Of course, that's my work wife driving the old 64 machine. As Metler gets himself all kinds of cranked up, Ryan Rose drops the hammer, and here we go. Ryan Rose with a good jump over Brandon Minto. As Alexander Gangler following here in P3. They're all but 3 wide. What a mess back here. Guys, have we not learned our lesson from earlier on in the evening? Look at this from above as Tommy Gossett now just over top of the 50. There goes the 65. Let's see where this one originated, because all of a sudden it looks like Gossett makes contact with the 24. They come into turn 2. The 65 all by his lonesome gets himself loose just in front of the 50. Gossett gets by. Moynihan goes to check up and spins himself. And boom goes the proverbial dynamite as wow. It's like a small child with his Hot Wheels cars just threw them in a pile in the middle of the racetrack. Third caution for cause tonight. First one of stage 2 is Ryan Rose going to be our race leader for the time being. He's going to have Brandon Minto, Alexander Gangler, Matt Metler. 1, 2, 3, 4 they go. Tommy Gossett going to be restarting on the inside of row 3. Anthony Savignano also going to be mixed in there. Randall Watkins restarting in 8th as he has just been almost impenetrable tonight as he still keeps the 27 nice and clean, maybe a little crinkle-dinkle there on the rear. Now Watkins down here on the apron. Maybe just giving himself a break there in the old racing rig there on the arms. In fact, let's see if we can get a hold of the 27 out of Bandit Racing. Hey, Randall, it's Dave up in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, Dave, I got you, brother.
Hey, brother, listen, you have just been this side of the cat with 9 lives tonight.
Tell me about it.
The shit has been flying all around you, and somehow you just managed to miss all of it.
I don't know what. Somehow I got a lucky charm with me tonight, and I hope it stays with me. So, man, they are driving like morons out here.
Yeah, I mean, it just seems like every time you get, anywhere near a mess, they're avoiding it. Now, what's the racetrack like? I mean, condition-wise. I mean, obviously, cool temperatures, tight racetrack as far as grip goes. What are you feeling in the 27?
Oh, man, it's stuck. I mean, we are stuck glued to the track. It's not loose. It's not too tight. I mean, it's just right.
All right, my man. Well, listen, good luck the rest of the way. I couldn't resist but notice that there you were. You were definitely the cat with 9 lives, so get yourself down out of that tree and up to the lead.
Absolutely. We're trying to. I'll deliver, man.
All right, brother. Good luck.
Thank you.
Ryan Rose going to have control of the race as he's going to come back, go double file behind the iRacing.com pace car. Brandon Minto out of Norman, Oklahoma, going to join him on the front row this time around as the iRacing.com pace car lights go out. Alexander Gangler on the inside of row 2 with Tommy Gossett to his outside. Gossett, of course, causes the first wreck, and every one of these wrecks that we've seen tonight has not just been a little okey-doke whoopsie-daisy. It has been all but catastrophic for some of these drivers. And it's benefited a lot of the drivers that wound up starting on pit road, so it's almost like they knew something that we didn't. As John Wilco in the 62 out of McAdoo, Pennsylvania, he runs 11th right now after starting 33rd. Gabriel Lafreniere down 3 positions. Mitchell Davies up 18 slots after starting 31st. So, you know, then we see Chris Claude, who starts 28th and now runs in 14th. And, you know, I hate to tell Chris this because he is Mr. Consistency and the consummate sportsman here on the racetrack. But, Chris, it's time. This is the night that you got to just put the foot down and go full send Chris Claude. The lights come back on the iRacing.com pace car, so obviously we're not completely done yet, as a couple of these drivers need to get back in line. Sounds like, according to race control on the radio side of things, that they just need to get some of these guys racked and stacked where they belong. Taking a look a little bit deeper here in the field as we get ourselves settled in. Rich Jett in the double natural out of Schwenksville, Pennsylvania. He starts 30th, now runs in 15th position. Steve Herring, same way, running 16th, up 16 slots after starting in 32nd. Brandon Hinton starts 34th and now runs 21st. So all of these wrecks have really started to benefit some of these drivers, as Ethan Ball would be the first driver a lap down, unfortunately. As he's down just a lap, but still, you know, it's got to be frustrating when you're sitting back there. You know you've got yourself a strong car, and you've just got to wait out for the next caution, as Ryan Rose has a rearview mirror full of Alexander Gangler. Rose in the Coke machine fires off from the Geico restart zone, and here we go on lap number 40, working our way toward lap number 60. Ryan Rose wastes no time at all with already a 0.4 of a second lead over Alexander Gangler. The 12 machine looks to hold up the 92 of Tommy Gossett, as Gossett here, as we ride along with him, is going to be looking for some kind of a way to get around Brandon Minto, but he's got a tough competitor in Minto ahead of him, as he's also going to slide in behind Anthony Savignano. He's looking for any way that he can get himself up here and contend for that lead, as now he drafts behind Anthony Savignano on the older tires, and he's still having to fight those guys off. They aren't going to be put to bed early tonight, as we're here on lap number 41, 20 to go in stage 2, as they're in that diamond formation ahead of him. And believe you me, this, oh my God, all of a sudden 3 wide for the lead. Alexander Gangler just shot himself all the way up here to the lead in the 8 truck. I don't know if he is possessed or what kind of demon he decided it's time to exercise. But my God, take a look at this, folks, as all of a sudden Alexander Gangler just turns it on to a whole different level. A little bit of a wiggle out of the 85, and Gangler all of a sudden our race leader. And unfortunately, nobody even saw that, so hold on a second. Let's run this back. There we go. There's the wiggle out of the 85. Gangler's there to capitalize on that almost
Racing isn't easy.
instantly, and there's Gangler. I don't know why this thing is doing what it's doing, but all of a sudden, Alexander Gangler leads this race in the 8 truck. Alexander Gangler gapping Anthony Savignano by about 1/10 of a second, 3/10 over Ryan Rose. Tommy Gossett backs it all the way down here into 6th position behind Randall Watkins. As I mentioned earlier, Randall Watkins seems to be the cat with 9 lives. He's suddenly 4/10 of a second ahead of Tommy Gossett. If he can stay away from the nose of the 92, he can keep that draft separate and get himself caught up here to the 12. Can't get enough of Randall Watkins running P5 right now around Brandon Minto as they're still battling it out now side by side down the front chute for Anthony Savignano and Alexander Gangler as Gangler's trying to hold on to the race lead. He may not be able to do so as all of a sudden Savignano on the fresher tires gets his way around Gangler. The question is, did he burn too much up to get where he was? Because, I mean, you know, Gangler didn't have to work too hard to get around the 65. I'm sorry, the 85. And here we are on lap number 46, 14 to go. Anthony Savignano, your race leader. Ryan Rose running in 3rd position now. Looks to the rear of Gangler, and Gangler's not ready to give that up just yet as he now looks, as we take a peek out from the rear of Gangler, you can see that he's literally just holding Ryan Rose at bay right now. So a Pepsi product and a Coke product dueling it out here through turns 3 and 4 as they roll out of 4. Gangler literally is going to match Ryan Rose step for step. It's almost like he's doing more driving out of the rearview mirror than he is out of the windshield. And that's not a bad thing as they draft themselves down into turn 1. But now with a little bit of a run here, Ryan Rose from Longmont, Colorado, all over the rear, looking high, low, and finally dives underneath Alexander Gangler to secure away P2 for the time being. Randall Watkins now side by side with Brandon Minto as Minto tries to get himself ahead of Watkins a little bit more, but Watkins has been patiently waiting his turn to get into P4 right now. That's going to shuffle Minto back to P5 as a pair of F-150s take one another on coming into turn 3. Watkins decides to turn the heat up in the Firehouse Kitchen as he works here on lap number 49. 10 to go next time by at the line in stage 2 as Randall Watkins dueling with Brandon Minto. One driver out of Norman, Oklahoma, the other from Miami, Florida. They're both out here battling it out down the back chute. Here they come toward turn 3. And right now, Watkins with the edge. We see Minto with a better entry into 3, but watch Watkins as he comes rolling out of 4 with a full head of steam side by side now with Minto as they are absolutely matching one another step for step, crossing the line and going into turn 1. These drivers still can't sort this one out as we look from high above in the blimp. Minto gets a run here. Where the heck did Watkins go? Watkins now with just a brief connection issue and a second one. And I can't even believe it as he drifts right up next to Gabriel Lafreniere in the 06 Oxmoor Ford F-150. Nothing but a bunch of Fords running around together right now. And Randall Watkins not willing to be found on road dead, that's for sure. All of a sudden, Gabriel Lafreniere cracks open an Oxmoor beer and gets to the inside of Brandon Minto. He's got the arm all kinds of nice and relaxed, Dale Earnhardt style, as Randall Watkins experiencing some heavy connection issues. Hopefully he can get that stabilized, because I certainly wouldn't want to see him bite the bullet here at this stage in the race. 7 to go now. Anthony Savignano leads Ryan Rose by 0.2 of a second. We've got another battle brewing back here with Richard Pruitt looking to the inside now of the 84 of Noah Hamilton. Hamilton all but rubbing the wall. For some reason can't get himself off of it as Chris Claude moves his way on by Noah Hamilton, getting into 15th position. Richard Pruitt now up 21 spots after starting dead last, 35th, running in 14th position. Taking a look at where Tommy Gossett is all by his lonesome. 0.7 of a second back to John Wilco out of McAdoo, Pennsylvania. Randall Watkins from Miami is 2.7 seconds ahead of him as we take a look back at Randall. Looks like he's got that connection issue stabilized as now he gets ready to go back after Tane Hodison, who's drafting his way up to the low side of Brandon Minto. Ryan Rose, your race leader here with 5 to go in stage 2, as things have seemed to calm down just a little bit, while Noah Hamilton is still sliding backwards, going the wrong direction, as now Ron Fitting gets ready to strap on the helmet and go after him next. The 69 of Diego Rodriguez in the Michigan Wolverines Ford F-150 works the high side. He's found some speed up here on that high line, and all of a sudden Diego Rodriguez runs in 16th position. Brandon Minto still trying to hold off Randall Watkins as now they battle it out for 6th position. Watkins looks to the inside of Minto. Maybe Minto's cooked a little bit too much off of those tires as he's got 6-lap older tires than Watkins does. 2 laps to go here in stage 2. Dave Regal with you here in the Tony Trapasso Memorial Broadcast booth. I want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight. As we take a peek here at the youtube.com live chat, there he is, Uncle Scott in the live chat he is. Richard Putnam says, hook 'em, Minto, hook 'em. Listen, Brandon Minto is not a hook 'em kind of driver, but I'll tell you this much, he is definitely the kind of driver that cracks open a Miller Lite with Uncle Scott. As Uncle Scott has now cracked the code on how to use the youtube.com live chat. Glad to have you with us, Uncle Scott. Next time I get up there to the state with the big shoulders, we'll have to check things out. Brandon Minto now trying to hold off Randall Watkins here. Final 2 laps of stage 2. Looks like they've got the 53 of Daniel Moynihan down a lap. He's our lucky dog, or will be this time around, as they try to stay even with one another. Let's ride along with Watkins as he is just given the business right now. Final lap of stage 2, and Randall Watkins looks like he's going to maybe settle for 7th position as he looks to the inside of Brandon Minto. So kind of a sad story there. I mean, you know, he's got the 53 over top. He can't slide out and use all of that momentum as the 53 essentially is working now with the 12 coming down the backstretch. Ryan Rose comes out of turn number 4, crosses the start-finish line, and wins stage 2. He'll be followed by Anthony Savignano, Alexander Gangler, Gabriel Lafreniere, Tane Hodison, Brandon Minto, Randall Watkins, Tommy Gossett, John Wilco out of McAdoo, Pennsylvania, and Michael Witt in the 88. Ooh, Randall Watkins just bites the inside wall. Not sure what that was all about. I guess maybe he finally wanted to see some scratches here on the old 27. Let's see what happened with Randall. Maybe a hardware failure here. We see him here and just all of a sudden shoot to the inside, bang off the inside safer barrier. Ryan Rose leads us down pit road. He's our stage 1 winner in the 85 Coca-Cola machine. I do like that black and red look there. It's almost a Chicago Fire Department color. As we see if we can find Ryan Rose. And unfortunately, I don't see Ryan here in the Discord channel. Well, for the time being, let's see if we can get a hold of the 92 after his earlier incident tonight at the beginning of the race. And, of course, I don't see the 92 either. So it's going to be kind of a quiet night here. In fact, let's get a hold of our lucky dog, Daniel Moynihan. Hey, Daniel, it's Dave up in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir.
So it looks like you're going to be the lucky dog this time around. How does the 53 feel tonight as you climb back up onto the lead lap?
I mean, it's feeling fast tonight. I got some unlucky breaks, unfortunately, but back on the lead lap now and looking to work my way up to the top 5 where I was earlier.
Yeah, I mean, listen, you were running the top 5. I mean, obviously, you're running on that Dunkin' Midnight blend, that's for sure. I mean, what's going to be the strategy here in Stage 3 is you've got to now fight through all of this traffic?
Ooh. I mean, strategy is hopefully survive the traffic. Hopefully make some places before, I don't know, maybe a late caution. I'm hoping so I can get a new set of tires under under a yellow flag, and then yeah, I mean, I'm sure a lot of the guys have a similar strategy going, but I'm hoping it works for me and not for them.
Buddy, listen, I totally get it. I mean, back in the day, it was more of a matter of I just want to keep the truck as clean as possible, and you don't look too bad there in the old F-150, but listen, maybe down another extra large Dunkin' Midnight and see how far you can go in this thing.
Oh, man, I'm sipping on that right now. You didn't even know.
Tell me that's not the most delicious coffee blend there ever was.
Oh, dude.
Like,
you
now, mind you, I drink my coffee like John Wayne, black, because that's how men like it.
Fair enough, fair enough. I'm more of a sugar cream, a little bit of caramel in there.
He gets the caramel swirl.
Ah, dude, I love me some caramel swirl.
I mean, look, in the iced coffee department, the caramel swirl is just this side of perfect. But in the hot coffee, it's got to be black. That's all there is to it. They ask me how I like it. I tell them in a cup.
No, I get that, man. The hot coffee, it's got to be black, but iced coffee, I get the cream sugar, the caramel. Oh, man. But I'll tell you what, listen, I am sipping on that midnight blend right now.
Thing all the way up.
Oh, yeah.
All right, buddy. Well, listen, good luck the rest of the way as you get yourself racked and restacked here. And, hey, listen, go ahead and try to cut through some of that traffic.
All right, will do, Dave.
That, of course, the voice of Daniel Moynihan out of Boston, Massachusetts. Of course, the home of Dunkin' Donuts. The iRacing.com pace car leading us down the back chute here. 2 by 2 they go as we are racked, stacked, and ready to go for Stage 3. Tane Hodison in the 93 going to be our race leader. He opts for the high line, so Ryan Rose is going to have to hold back here this time around as the iRacing.com pace car gets ready to make that hard left turn down pit road. He does, and now it's all up to Tane Hodison to hold this field behind him as he comes out and into the quad oval. He hits the Geico restart zone, gets bumped from Savignano behind, and away we go. Nearly crossing in front of him goes the 85, but they managed to keep it forward. Savignano is bumping the bejesus out of the back of the 93 to get himself around. He loosens up Hodison and now basically steals P2 away from Hodison as he and Ryan Rose go to lead it down the backstretch here and into turn 3. "67 laps in the books." That means that we're all but halfway through this piece now, as we've got 134 laps all told when the checkered flag flies. Ryan Rose, Anthony Savignano, Brandon Minto with 1, 2, 3 they go, with Gabriel Lafreniere and Tane Hodison in tow. Everybody came down and got service that time from 1st to 21st. Daniel Moynihan, that we just spoke with, of course, from Boston, Massachusetts. He, of course, right now running back in 20th even. Ryan Rose leads us here on lap number 69, followed by Brandon Minto and Gabriel Lafreniere. Anthony Savignano trying to do his very best to hold on to 4th position as he's trying to get himself up here to the rear of Lafreniere. All of a sudden, most of these drivers starting to go single file as we look back here to Michael Witt. He's got Kavaja Holt in tow as now he puts Kavaja Holt in the crosshairs. Randall Watkins running in 13th position right now. He's got himself all cleaned up once again. He's going to be able to hold on to that 13th position for the time being. That's where he qualified, as now he looks to the inside of Michael Witt to go ahead and serve lunch to the 88. He's got the hairnet on, and he's getting ready to put the slop on the tray as he works to the inside, and now 2 for 1 from Randall Watkins as he just steals away 11th position from Tane Hodison. Randall Watkins is a man on the mission as the 88 just bumps. Wow, Rich Jet manages to dirt track it and stay going forward here on lap number 71 of 134. Watkins now up to 11th position. John Wilco out of McAdoo, Pennsylvania. I was with the fire chief of McAdoo, Pennsylvania on Sunday as we had a little bit of a rescue mission for an 18-time Grammy-winning polka artist up in Barnesville, Pennsylvania. Of course, it wasn't reported properly by the news, but that's fine. We know the truth. John Wilco working in 7th position right now. He's one of those drivers that I keep an eye on every week, as he's one of my fellow Pennsylvanians representing the 570 area code, as he's up 26 slots right now after starting in 33rd from down on pit road. He's now up here battling in the top 10. This is the kind of patience that you like to see out of some of these drivers, as now they are all exchanging positions. We're watching Tommy Gossett on the high side drafting behind Anthony Savignano in the 50, but getting a run underneath Savignano is the 11 of Ethan Eckert. The young man getting just a little bit too close for comfort. Hey, buddy, listen, back up as they now bang one against one another, coming through the quad oval toward turn 1. As the 92 getting just a little bit too close to comfort. Now Savignano lets Eckert go on by because he doesn't want to get wrecked with this much of the race left, as all of a sudden we go under caution, and the faster pastor may be the culprit here, or at least one of the victims. Let's watch Stoney Benfield here from high above the racetrack. And Stoney Benfield just gets a little bit too tight coming out of the quad oval. He drifts up in front of Tane Hodison. Hodison just kind of collects him like a plow and moves out of the way, as that's going to move the faster pastor way back here into 27th position now. All of a sudden, out of Norman, Oklahoma, is Brandon Minto in the number 12 Okefenokee Ford F-150. 3 blue ovals leading this piece now, with a pair of Chevrolet bow ties rounding out your top 5 in Savignano and Ryan Rose. Alexander Gangler runs in 6th with John Wilco, Diego Rodriguez, Kavaja Holt, and Randall Watkins. Almost like Bouncing Betty, if you've ever paid attention to the TV show MASH, rounds out your top 10. Stoney Benfield goes from the pulpit to the cockpit and now into the pits, as he just gets himself all kinds of turned around and collected this time by, as Brandon Minto follows the iRacing.com pace car. That track can't get too much cooler as we work lap number 76 of 134. Past the halfway point now in this piece, as Brandon Minto and Gabriel Lafreniere going to line up side by side once the iRacing.com pace car lights turn out. Brandon Minto leads us with Gabriel Lafreniere in tow, Ethan Eckert, Anthony Savignano, and Ryan Rose rounding out your top 5. I got to be honest, Ethan Eckert's going to be sitting in just about what we would refer to as the catbird seat, as he's going to have the best opportunity to try to get around Brandon Minto. Each of them came down on lap 62, so they've each got 14 laps on these tires. They're just getting to the to that perfect tire wear here for getting around this piece. Of course, trying to boogie around Charlotte Motor Speedway is never an easy feat, that's for sure. As now we go double file, rack 'em, stack 'em, get ready to go after him again. Brandon Minto opting for the high side. That's going to put Gabriel Lafreniere here on the low side. They're not going to be swapping positions now, as we've passed that choose part for our race leader. Minto following the iRacing.com pace car ever so carefully. Nobody wants to get that accidental accidental black flag as Norman, Oklahoma's very own Minto leads us down the backstretch behind the iRacing.com pace car. Checking in here on the YouTube.com live chat. And will Sim Racing Media be making Bud for one of the SHR charters? I don't know what you mean by making Bud, and I don't know what you mean by will Sim Racing Media be making Bud for one of the SHR charters. So maybe a little bit of clarification here for the YouTube.com live chat as we wait for Brandon Minto to turn him loose, but here we are adding another lap here to our pace lap. The iRacing.com pace car comes out of turn 4, makes the hard left turn down pit road. Brandon Minto with control of the field. Waits, hits the Geico restart zone, gets a bump from Savignano, and we're back underway. Brandon Minto drifting already down in front of Gabriel Lafreniere, now leading him by 0.2 of a second as Savignano and Lafreniere, wow, I can't say those names too fast without tripping over myself, nearly go fender to fender as Lafreniere looks to shove it right underneath the 50 of Savignano, my God. And at the same time, whoa! Ethan Eckert just slides down here. Let's take a quick peek at that because that was almost too dangerous to watch as we're going to watch this right from the nose of Ethan Eckert. My God. Here we are. Ethan Eckert gets just up behind Savignano, sees an opening as soon as Lafreniere gets on by and throws it down here.
Racing isn't easy.
Just behind Gabriel Lafreniere. Now Ethan Eckert hot to trot just behind Lafreniere. He's going to turn this, whoa, into a three-way battle for the lead. Now a four-way battle as Savignano gets up here. They are suddenly out here as if it's almost the last lap. Running here on lap 82. So just about 50 to go. Savignano almost giving a bump to Minto, backs off as we come out of turn 2. They go side by side, and Ethan Eckert almost thought about it, but he backed off, not taking it 3 wide, putting Lafreniere in the middle. But he is trying to hitch his wagon to the back of the Oxmoor F-150 to see if Lafreniere can tow him to the promised land. As now once again Eckert looks to the low side, falls back in line behind Lafreniere. Bad things are going to happen here, folks, as now he's pushing him into turn 1. This is absolutely dangerous racing now, as drifting up the racetrack is Eckert. Now giving a bump here to the 06 is Brandon Minto. Those two drivers are going to try to work together. 3 Fords, 1, 2, 3 they go. Gabriel Lafreniere, Brandon Minto, and Ethan Eckert, with Anthony Savignano looking from behind. as we go right here on board with Savignano. Now all of a sudden Ethan Eckert getting launched up here. He may have a run at the lead. He does, and Ethan Eckert, your new race leader on lap number 85. Now he and Lafreniere are going to have to duke it out for the lead. The question is, does Ethan Eckert have the poise to keep himself under control as he drifts up in front of Lafreniere and now gets to hold that man back? Quietly and ever so quietly is John Wilco back here, as all of a sudden he gets ready to slide around Alexander Gangler, as Gangler can't hold it together too much longer in 5th position. That's going to open the door for John Wilco to try to get around him. Wow, all but coming off of the wall is Gabriel Lafreniere. If only we could have 14 screens to watch all of this incredible racing. We haven't even had time for a commercial break tonight. Hopefully we get that soon, as Ethan Eckert, now your race leader on lap number 87, leads Gabriel Lafreniere by just less than a tenth of a second, just more than a tenth of a second. Lafreniere drafting up to the rear of the 11 with Savignano running P3 right now. Alexander Gangler in 4th, Brandon Minto in 5th, John Wilco in 6th. Still trying to get his way up here into the top 5. He's got help in the form of Ryan Rose, as it looks like he's trying to hold Ryan Rose back. It's almost like he's going up the Broad Mountain on Route 93 on his way home. And Wilco holding things together as now he looks to shove it right underneath Brandon Minto. Minto slings it in front of John Wilco here in the 62, as the 85 of Ryan Rose watches from behind, waiting for someone to make a mistake. Wilco, though, has been a patient driver all season long. He's got this Silverado cranked up to crazy, as he now looks to the inside once again of Brandon Minto, and Minto, trying to hold him off, gets another run on the high side. He's found the speed on the high line. Now it's a matter of whether or not John Wilco is going to take a hint and try to follow him up there, while Ethan Eckert leads this race now by just about 15/10 of a second. Meanwhile, Daniel Moynihan closing in on Rich Jett, with Diego Rodriguez trying to get at the rear bumper of Randall Watkins, running in P11 right now. 90 laps in the books, 44 to go this time at the line, as they haul it out of turn 4. Ethan Eckert crosses the start-finish line, and we are 44 to go. Diego Rodriguez still trying to get around Randall Watkins, but Watkins isn't going to be put to bed early tonight, as he runs in 11th position right now, trying to chase down Daniel Moynihan. Ethan Eckert, though, still up here battling with Gabriel Lafreniere. There are fights all over the racetrack breaking out, as now the one truck of Mike McConville out of Cape May, New Jersey, slides around Diego Rodriguez, capitalizing on the battle that was raging between Rodriguez and Watkins. And now, all of a sudden, my buddy Mike McConville is trying to serve lunch to Randall Watkins. And quite frankly, I don't know who I'd cheer for more here. I know Mike McConville likes his Wawa, but Randall Watkins is my brother in blue, in Firefighter Blue, that's for sure. Watkins gives away 11th position to McConville, who now crawls into the top 10. Daniel Moynihan slides into 11th with Randall Watkins in 12th. Meanwhile, Ryan Rose just comes out of a battle with John Wilco from McAdoo, Pennsylvania. The double natural of Rich Jett from Schwanksville, PA, trying to give the 610 a shout out here as he works to the high side now of Ryan Rose. And I'll tell you who I haven't seen in a while, and now I'm starting to wonder if that's a thing. It sure is. It looks like Tommy Gossett has put it on the hauler after wrecking half the field on the opening lap. Brandon Minto side by side now with Ryan Rose in the 85. Rose drifts up but doesn't make contact as Alexander Gangler runs P4 right now, just behind Anthony Savignano, Gabriel Lafreniere, and Ethan Eckert. We're going to step aside and pay some bills for what seems to be our one and only time here with 40 to go at Charlotte Motor Speedway. I'm Dave Regal, and this is Sim Racing Media.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
With the Butt Kicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. Butt Kicker. The future is feeling.
Basket can't defend. He's got the outside line for the second part, and he can't hold on.
Going the long way around. We're going to be 3 wide for the lead as they all come to the line. Who is going to take it in the end?
And here comes Lockwood. He's going to make the move to the outside. Quinn tries to force it off a little bit, but there he goes. It's going to be side by side through turn 1.
Will he be able to cover him off? He does. Weaving back to the left-hand side. Reynolds is trying everything. The kitchen sink is being thrown at it.
They're leaning on each other. Coming into turn number 3. It's going to be a drag race through 3 and 4. Coming back to the line. Here comes Frisch on the bottom. Bouchard's going to hold the inside. Tries to be the late breaker here. They're going to be side by side through the final chicane. They bang doors, but keep it clean.
As that's still 4 wide on the run down into the back straightaway. Demerit's looking for a line as well. What is going on in Michigan?
Novak into the fence. They're still beating and banging.
Oh
and to the line.
He is much faster coming through there. Is there damage on Challenger? Abramitis is ahead. There's going to be a race to the line. Who is going to get it?
Preen Garden Weed Preventer and Preen Garden Weed Preventer Plus Plant Food block weeds before they start and are safe for use around over 400 flowers, vegetables, trees, and shrubs. Best of all, they give you 3 months of freedom from weeding in just 4 easy steps. You can apply Preen anytime before or during the growing season. But since it's a weed preventer, not a weed killer, early spring is best. Here's how. Start by removing existing weeds and their roots in the area where you want to apply Preen. Sprinkle granules directly onto dry soil, mulch, or stone so that they're evenly spaced. Within 24 hours of applying, integrate the granules into the top layer of soil or mulch or stone-covered bed. Finally, water with a hose or sprinkler, or a well-timed soaking rain to activate the protective weed barrier. When activated, Preen creates an invisible weed-fighting barrier just below the soil surface that targets and prevents weed seeds from sprouting and forming roots. People and pets may enter the treated area once dusts have settled and the area is thoroughly dry from watering or first rain. That's it. Now you'll have a beautiful weed-free space and 3 months to do anything but weeding. Satisfaction guaranteed. Trusted for over 50 years, Preen is America's #1 weed preventer brand with weed preventers for every type of garden.
The most realistic online racing sim ever made. This is iRacing. Detailed laser scan tracks, fully dynamic, real world cars, and over 50 series to choose from. 6 online world championships offering over $400,000 in annual prizes. This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
Welcome back to Charlotte Motor Speedway, where we are 30 laps to go this time. Coming back from caution, we're going to take a quick peek here and look at some of the events that kind of transpired here. First, we're going to watch the 85 of Ryan Rose as he comes out of turn 4 and gets whacked down into the grass by Kavaja Holt. We stayed green as he stayed on the green. And then, just to add insult to injury, all of a sudden, here's the 11 of Ethan Eckert. And Ethan Eckert has Anthony Savignano all over his rear bumper. Savignano comes up and just hooks him and sends him up into the outside safer barrier. So it has just been a long night here. In fact, let's see if we can find Savignano on that caution. In fact, here it is. As we take a look, this is Anthony Savignano just behind Ethan Eckert. Here's Eckert in front of him, and hooked he goes. Anthony Savignano, your new race leader with Rich Jett, Gabriel Lafreniere, Mike McConville, Kavaja Holt, Brandon Minto, John Wilco, Brandon Hinton, Daniel Moynihan, and Diego Rodriguez make up your top 10 as Savignano, now your race leader in the Bass Pro Shop Chevrolet Silverado. As the iRacing.com pace car brings us down the backstretch, I want to thank everybody for making us a part of your evening. I want to thank you for welcoming us into your homes and onto your phones, however you may be listening, wherever you may be. We thank you for that, as side by side they are racked, stacked, and ready to go with 30 to go. This race tonight has had everything right about it. I mean, there have been just continual battles all around the racetrack, close racing, 7 cautions, 5 of them being for cause tonight over these 105 laps that are in the books. Anthony Savignano leads us out of turn 4 now that the iRacing.com pace car peels away. He hits the Geico restart zone, and we are back underway on lap 106. Savignano and Lafreniere separate themselves a little bit, as now Lafreniere having to battle it out with Rich Jett as they go door handle to door handle, coming through 1 and 2. Nearly making contact with the fenders as it looks like Rich Jet in the double natural wants to try to take him on himself, but Kavaja Holt just shoveled the 06 of Gabriel Lafreniere up here into P3. Now he's going to be able to battle it out with Rich Jet as he got just the push that he needed here in the late stage of this race. 107 laps in the books tonight. On our way to 134 with Anthony Savignano pulling away from the rest of the field. We look back here to Rich Jet and the 06 of Gabriel Lafreniere from St. Jude, and all of a sudden Lafreniere having to put up with a lot of guff here from Rich Jet, as all of a sudden the Schwanksville, PA native holding his own here, trying to protect that podium finish as he's got Kavaja Holt now shoving him once again. Kavaja Holt pushes Jet into turns 1 and 2, and as he comes out of 2 and gets ready to go down the backstretch, he's able to slide in front of Lafreniere and secure P2 for the time being, as now Lafreniere looks to the inside of Rich Jet when we go into turn 3. All of a sudden, Lafreniere looks a little loose, just 6 laps on these tires, as everybody came down during that caution cycle. And Anthony Savignano perfectly happy, just kind of running away with things as we zoom in right here to Rich Jet and Gabriel, as now Gabriel Lafreniere hauling that truckload of Oxmoor beer from up there north of the border. Of course, usually when we think of Canadian beer, we think Molson, Labatt's, but obviously Oxmoor running under the hood right now of that F-150. Kavaja Holt trying to hold his own for the time being as we look right here from the nose of the 00. He looks right here to the inside of Rich Jet on the 77. Now as they get ready to dive down in here to turn 3, all of a sudden Kavaja gets a run. He's going to hitch his wagon to the back of Gabriel's F-150 as they roll out of turn 4, and come back into the quad oval. Now Kavaja Holt being scored P3 as we work our way through lap 111. We're nearly at 20 to go at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Dave Regal with you here in the Tony Trapasso Memorial Broadcast booth. Want to welcome everybody into the YouTube.com live chat. As Virgo Deck saying that he's so tired of this, get wrecked after leading the whole last stage. Then the audacity to say, well, I'm sorry you feel that way. Seems like a rough night for the young man there, Ethan Eckert. We know who you are. As now Anthony Savignano under assault as Gabriel Lafreniere was able to pass him. Let's see that pass for the lead. And here it is. Watch Savignano have to secure away the lead from Gabriel Lafreniere. Lafreniere shoots in front of him, but Savignano able to hold his own as we come down the back stretch as he was shoved here by Kavaja Holt. And, you know, I've said it all season long. I think this is finally going to be one of Kavaja's better finishes on the season, as he's now running in P3 behind Gabriel Lafreniere, our neighbor from the north, and Anthony Savignano. Rich Jet runs in 4th. John Wilco out of McAdoo, Pennsylvania, trying to finish up here toward the top 3 if he can. And right now, he's just kind of lurking. There's a lot of folks that are within an hour and a half drive of me here, just outside the city of brotherly love, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, as John Wilco gets the 62 cranked up here in 5th position. As we ride along with him, we can see just how careful he's got to be, as on his high side is Brandon Minto. Now all of a sudden, Wilco has figured out that he can draft just behind Kavaja Holt. We see him there in that white and orange truck in front of Kavaja. And now Wilco with a run here in 4th position. 20 to go now. This may be go time for him as we work just behind Rich Jet now in the 77. All kinds of battling going on up here in this top 7. Of course, 1, 2, 3 is Lafreniere, Savignano, and Holt. Rich Jet, John Wilco, Brandon Minto, and now Mike McConville gets in on the dance as two of the strongest drivers in this league during the Xfinity Series, at least, go side by side, all but touching fenders coming out of 4 into the quad oval. Mike McConville cannot push almost any harder against John Wilco without shoving him into the grass as they come into turn 1. That's going to put McConville at a position where he's got to decide if he wants to try to continue to follow John Wilco or if he's going to try to hitch his wagon to the back of the 62. Kavaja Holt peeking down just underneath Anthony Savignano, trying to get himself a little bit of a side draft here coming out of 4. Can't get it done this time. Kavaja Holt running P3 right now. Gabriel Lafreniere now charging on the high side of Anthony Savignano as he wants the lead and says, give it to me now with 17 laps to go. That's a long time to have to hold things off, but he doesn't want to waste any time. He wants to try to insulate himself as deep into the top 3 as he can, even if he's got to give up the lead later on. If he cooks these tires a little too hard here with 16 laps to go, that's an eternity for a driver. When you look down there at that laps to go and see 16, you know that it's going to be a long night yet here behind the wheel as they are fender to fender coming through turns 3 and 4 and rolling out of 4, heading back toward the flag stand. They're neck and neck coming through the quad oval, and no decision coming across the line as now Anthony Savignano slides back in front of Gabriel Lafreniere. Now Gabriel Lafreniere slides back in front of Savignano. The 06 and the 50 dueling it out here in America's Southeast at, of course, Charlotte Motor Speedway, right here in the shadow of all that is motorsports in NASCAR. Four-way battle for the lead with 14 to go. Rich Jet, Kavaja Holt, Anthony Savignano, and Gabriel Lafreniere dueling it out right now, as it seems right now like they cannot possibly get any closer. Let's ride along here with Kavaja Holt. As he looks to the high side, he can see Rich Jet peeking his nose up in here. Rich Jet desperately wants to be able to sling it right in front of Kavaja. He finally does to hold Kavaja back into 4th position. I don't know who to scream for more, as John Wilco just behind can see this entire battle unfolding. We go back up here now with Kavaja Holt, as Kavaja still trying to get his way on the low side of the 77 of Rich Jet. All of a sudden, a rub of the wall for the 06, and that opens the door for Kavaja and Rich Jet to get up here into 2 and 3. That's going to change things for sure with 12 laps to go. Anthony Savignano, your race leader, just about 0.3 of a second and then some over Rich Jet. Rich Jet running in P2 for the time being, holds about 1/4 of a second lead over Kavaja Holt. Anthony Savignano now leading Rich Jet and Kavaja Holt by 1/2 second, as now they're trying to decide and settle out who's going to finish P2 with 10 laps to go here at the line. Right now it looks like Kavaja Holt's going to take P2 for the time being, but Rich Jet is not going to be put to bed early. The Schwenksville, Pennsylvania native trying to haul the mail coming out of 2 and down the back chute once more here with 10 laps to go. Savignano, Holt, and Jet, your top 3. They're trying to separate themselves from Gabriel Lafreniere, who had a rub of the wall a moment ago. He's just ahead of Brandon Minto, who now looks to the inside, the high side, any way he can, as it looks like the Oxmoor has suddenly gone 3 wide all on his own. Rich Jet in the 77 now trying to hold off Lafreniere yet again, as all of a sudden John Wilco has faded back to 11th position. Randall Watkins runs in 8th, Chris Custer in 6th, Brandon Minto in 5th, rounding out your top 5. Anthony Savignano, though, he is running away with this race. The last thing he wants to see is a caution and to have to hold these guys off at close distance. Rich Jet in the 77 sealing the deal for 3rd position right now. He's holding off Gabriel Lafreniere. 8 laps to go, 7 now as we cross the start-finish line. The man in the stand with the green flag in his hand getting ready to crack his knuckles and grab that white flag in just a few laps here, as we are currently still running 31-second laps around this piece in Charlotte, North Carolina. As Michael Wick goes off track, Claude Ferland gets to pass Mike McConville for P23, as that position just happened to be available and up for grabs. Richard Pruitt, the last car on the lead lap, as he currently runs in 22nd position. He can see the leaders just behind him, but they're not ready to overtake him with 6 laps to go. Now 5 laps to go for Anthony Savignano, as Kavaja Holt in hot pursuit, a half-second behind, trying to hold off an angry Hornet's Nest. Here comes Chris Custer out of Ohio in 4th position, riding along the low side now of Rich Jet. As Rich Jet has faded back into 4th position, he puts Gabriel Lafreniere in the crosshairs here with 4 laps to go. Three laps to go. Anthony Savignano with a commanding lead of a half-second over Kavaja Holt. Kavaja Holt trying to hold on to his lead over Chris Custer. And now, all of a sudden, the wheels come off, the caution comes out, and Michael Witt is the culprit, perhaps, of this wreck. All of a sudden, what in the world? Must be a hardware failure here for the 88. As the leaders cannot be happy with, basically having to be put on hold now, as we were marching our way toward that white flag, and now we're going to go NASCAR overtime. So here we are getting ready for NASCAR overtime. What that means, folks, is when the green flag flies, we will race around and try to get to the white flag. If the caution should come out between the time the green flag flies and the white flag comes out, we will rack them, stack them, and do it all over again. If the white flag should fly, the next flag will end the race. Whether that flag is checkered, white, yellow, green, doesn't matter. That will be the end of the race. So right now, what Anthony Savignano needs is a solid restart here when we come back to the start-finish line in just a few moments, as Kavaja Holt is going to be challenging him fiercely on the high side as we work our way through turns 3 and 4 again. We pass that NBC Sports logo there on the infield grass. And, of course, Bank of America, headquartered here in Charlotte, North Carolina. Anthony Savignano getting a little bit of a bump here from Kavaja Holt. Not sure if this is a friendly bump or an I got you buddy kind of bump. It's going to be Savignano, Holt, Custer, your top three, as Chris Custer just came out of nowhere, up 22 spots after starting in 25th tonight. Now sitting here poised to take a podium finish away from Gabriel Lafreniere, who was just up here in the lead moments ago. Rich Jett challenging for the podium as well. Brandon Minto and Brandon Hinton running in 6th and 7th. Randall Watkins, Mitchell Davies, and Daniel Moynihan round out your top 10 here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Want to welcome everybody into the YouTube.com live chat. And it seems like Ahmed Altaf is calling Ethan Eckert the Denny Hamlin of SNN. I'm trying to figure out what Altaf means. Maybe backwards it's Falta? Fatla? Buddy, I'm doing good. Just checking in over here. Always got to keep things fresh in the YouTube.com live chat as we work our way here toward the end of this race. I want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight. Savignano is the Hamlin. Well, I don't know if I could really say that. Savignano usually races pretty clean. Easy, Ethan. Take a chill pill. The iRacing.com pace car lights are out. We are racked, stacked, and ready to go NASCAR overtime. Did I have a breakfast this morning? Yeah, I did. It's a sausage, egg, and cheese sandwich that I made right here on the old stove. Three laps to go. It'll be 2 laps when we go back. Green flag racing as the Allen Experience checks in with us on the YouTube.com live chat. Anthony Savignano leads us out of turn number 4 back toward the quad oval. The iRacing.com pace car out of the way, which leaves everything in the hands of Anthony Savignano. He drops the hammer, and here we go, NASCAR overtime. Anthony Savignano doing his best to hold Kavaja Holt at bay as we come through 1 and 2 this time around. Gabriel Lafreniere drops down in front of Chris Custer, sealing the deal for P3 for the time being. But Custer's not going to go away that easily, as now he's going to have to start to sniff up here toward the tailgate of Gabriel Lafreniere. Anthony Savignano, he now leads this piece by 1/4 of a second over Kavaja Holt out of Waynesboro. They come back to the start-finish line. The white flag flies, and we're racing back to checkers. Anthony Savignano captures the white flag. Now he's got Kavaja Holt all over his rear bumper. The question is, can he hold off Holt long enough? Oh, they wreck behind him. And the race ends the same way it started, with pandemonium in the ring, as Anthony Savignano is going to seal the deal coming back to the start-finish line. He holds off Kavaja Holt in the final lap here at Charlotte Motor Speedway in the Tuesday Night NASCAR Truck Series. Anthony Savignano, Kavaja Holt, and Gabriel Lafreniere finish on the podium, with Chris Custer and Brandon Minto rounding out your top 5. Randall Watkins comes home 6th for Mr. 305, while Daniel Moynihan, Rich Jett, Brandon Hinton, and Ryan Rose come home in 10th position. Anthony Savignano celebrating just past the start-finish line. He has earned this win tonight as he gets it done in the Bass Pro Shop Chevrolet Silverado. As he brings it back here to the start-finish line, we want to tell him how excited we are for him, as now he and the old teammates from Bandit Racing going to get together here. What a celebration we have at the start-finish line. There, of course, is Kavaja Holt, and, of course, Mr. 305 Randall Watkins from the Miami-Dade Fire and Rescue Department. My brother from down there in South Beach. And we're going to get a chance now to talk to our race winner, Anthony Savignano, driver the number 50. Hey, Anthony, it's Dave up in the booth. You got me?
Oh, Dave, I got you. How are you?
Buddy, listen, I'm good, but you're obviously doing better tonight as you finally bring one home here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. How are you feeling after this run?
I'm feeling great right now, Dave, especially in the truck series, man. I'm on a heater right now. I took a break from North Wilkesboro, so technically this is back-to-back for me after Darlington. So great team finish as well. Kavaja was able to get in there P2, so 1-2 for the Bandit Racing team, and Randall top 10 as well. So awesome team finish, and yeah, I'm just in a great mood on the truck series right now. We are rolling, finally starting to catch our stride mid-season.
Yeah, and this is the time of year where you want to hit that stride. Get some, rip off some wins here right in the meat of the season, and then get yourself ready for August when, of course, the playoffs begin. Now, of course, our schedule here in the Truck Series is a little convoluted for the next couple of weeks, but at the same time, I mean, you've got a lot to work for here the rest of the way. Of course, next week we go to Worldwide Technology Raceway, and then we've got 3 weeks off. So what's your mindset going to Gateway next week?
Well, I'm still in a winning mindset. With 2 wins, I should be locked into the playoffs. But I missed a lot of races early in the season in the truck series, so I'm still short points wise in the regular season. But for playoff standings with 2 wins, I should be locked in. But I'm still in a winning mindset. I need to get up there in points and just ensure that my spot is locked in if it gets to 10 different winners, which it very easily could. There's a lot of talent in this field, so it feels definitely a lot of weight off the shoulder with the 2 wins, but we're still in a winning mood. We're coming to the track every weekend, striving for another win, because we need as many points as we can get still.
Yeah, points are key in this league. I mean, to your point, I mean, although that you can get a pair of wins, and now you have that tonight. Of course, your last win was 2 weeks ago at Darlington. Obviously now that playoff picture looks a lot more clear to you. As we go through, those 3 off weeks, what do you do during the off week to prepare yourself for Nashville?
Well, to be honest, the C open races on the officials are really not that helpful. The A ones are a lot more helpful. B is a little bit iffy, and then C is just too many cautions to kind of get long lap runs in. So I try and get a test session going with the teammates, and if it's a long break like that, then we'll try and simulate the weather and get a couple long green flag runs in and see what the tires do. But if I can get a couple official races in, I'll try. But it's mainly going to be offline test sessions with the trucks.
All right, my man. Well, listen, congratulations on the win tonight, capturing your second checkered flag of the season. Before we cut you loose, who helps you get it done in the 50, and who do you need to shout out and tip your cap to?
Well, everybody here at Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday night racing and the Stacy Strong Cup Series, you guys are awesome for everything you guys do. It's a lot of hard work. I want to thank the teammates. Finally, like I said, starting to catch our stride. It's been a frustrating start of the season in all three series, and we're all four finally starting to catch our stride again. And I want to thank Kavaja for the setups. And I did want to just mention, I don't know if the broadcast caught it, but me and Eckert wrecking on lap 101. Finally, just got my first chance to take a look at the replay here. I want to apologize, but it does seem to look like a racing incident. But so, sorry, Eckert. It probably would have been a better finish with you in there. But yeah, once again, just thanks for you guys and everything you do up in the booth and Chris behind the scenes.
All right, my man. Well, listen, congratulations. Go ahead and celebrate with the team. Congrats, man.
Will do. Thanks, Dave. See you next week.
That, of course, our race winner, Anthony Savignano. Next on the podium is Kavaja Holt from Waynesboro, driver of the 00. Kavaja, it's Dave up in the booth. You got me?
Yes, sir. What's going on, man?
Man, you're what's going on. I'm back here every week. I'm sitting here and I'm like, Kavaja, this got to be your week. This got to be your week. And here you are finishing P2 for the first time in quite a while. How are you feeling as things cool down on the 00?
Man, I needed this for real. I've had really good cars in all three series, and it's just can't quite seal the deal, man. And finally, this feels pretty good. It's been a while.
Yeah, I mean, listen, you went through a period of time where you were just absolutely unstoppable in this league, and of course, then I get off the track, and all of a sudden, you start to sink back a little bit. Take us through some of the battle and some of the struggle that you've had over the last season, because, I mean, this is the first time that I've seen you on the podium since I got up here into the broadcast booth.
Yeah, well, the main thing is I've been spending more time in the A cars than anything anymore, man, because I'm just struggling. The old cars, I had them figured out, and the new ones, I'm starting to make gains on it, but now it's just staying out of trouble is my main issue. And then when I do stay out of other people's trouble, I get my own self in trouble. And now I'm just not focusing enough time on the other two series, Like this first race I ran in these in probably 2 or 3 weeks, and hell, I didn't even have no practice. I barely made qualifying, and I didn't think I was going to finish this well, but it was working. I probably would have went a little harder there at the end, but my teammate, I told him, man, I'd rather just settle for second than take us both out. Neither one of us get anything here.
Yeah, man. I mean, listen, you're one of the drivers that I'm always pulling for in these races, so I'm excited and glad to see you here on the podium. It's been a long struggle, and, for you to be able to put the time in here in the truck, and to your point, I mean, listen, those next-gen cars, they do take a lot of practice. They still take a lot of getting used to. Even as I read more and more information about it on the iRacing.com servers, they just seem to be a handful just to get set up every week. But, here it's a little bit more traditional in the trucks, with your adjustments and some of the things that you do. So, to me, I think the A car kind of gives you guys an edge here in the under series to some degree. But before we cut you loose, of course, next week we go to Gateway. Who do you need to tip your cap to? Who helps you get it done on the 00?
Man, dude, Barrett, man, he helps me a lot with the setups. He ain't in here no more, but he really helps me a lot.
Listen, when you see Barrett, you tell him I send my love. That dude is such a good dude.
Yes, he is, man. He kind of took me under his wing and helped me a lot. We kind of learned together, and what I learned, I tell him. What he learns, he tells me. I can trust that he's not hiding anything from me, and I'm pretty sure he can trust I'm not hiding anything from him.
Dude, listen, I'm telling you right now, that man helped me learn how to do super speedways the right way. And I mean, after there was 1 week, probably 2 years ago, where he wound up wrecking me because I was down on the apron trying to stay out of the way, as usual. But after that race, man, he just kind of took me under the wing and just, like you said, everything that he learned, he was just passing along to me.
Yeah, and it's really nice to have somebody like that. And I kind of said that in the race. That's the issue with iRacing is finding people that's willing to help you. You got all these setup shops, which I'm thankful for, because there's weeks that I work 80 hours a week. It's hard for me to get time in here, and but at the same time, they're not going to help you unless you pay them. It's hard to find a good group of guys that's willing to just help you and be that generous, and I'm thankful to have him around, man.
Well, who else helps you get it done, and who else do you need to shout out tonight before we cut you loose?
Teammates, we kind of helped him get around, make it on fuel there at the end. They helped me to kind of keep my head in the game, man. I think we would have had all of us in the top 10 there if Alex wouldn't have got tied up in that last wreck. But my wife for not complaining too much about me doing this, and I'm either at work or on here, so I'm thankful for that. And most importantly, my kids, man, they saved my life. They, you know, they're here for me, and I live for them, you know.
Buddy, I get it 1,000%. Trust me. Sometimes all you need is a hug, and that's just enough to get you through the next day. I'm right there with you, brother.
Absolutely, man.
But, all right, man. Well, listen, congratulations on the P2 finish. I'm proud of you, brother. And like I said, make sure you send my love to Barrett.
I got you, man. Hopefully I'll see you again this coming up week.
Yeah, all right, man. Talk to you later.
See you.
That, of course, the voice of the great Kavaja Holt driver, the 00, who finally gets it done here and gets onto the podium. And last but certainly not least, on our podium from St. Jude is Gabriel Lafreniere. Gabriel, it's Dave up in the broadcast booth. You got me?
Yes, I got you.
Man, what a run tonight. I mean, you had the Oxmoor 06 F-150 just dialed in, and, you know, you were battling all night. Take us through some of this as, you know, you were trying to fight your way back up here to the lead.
Yeah, we have a bad start with the wreck in lap 1. But all the race, we have a nice setup, nice truck, good run. And yeah, at the end, strong battle with Anthony and Ethan just before his wreck. But yeah, was fun.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun to watch from up here in the broadcast booth. Now, next week we go to Gateway down in St. Louis. What are you thinking as we get ready to go to a different style racetrack there in St. Louis?
I practice 2 times today the next race, and was able to make a very good run. So happy with the next race, and I guess good result will be there.
All right, my friend. Well, listen, congratulations on the P3 finish. Before we cut you loose, who do you need to shout out and thank for tonight's run?
Thanks to you, to the broadcast, Chris Claude, for the league, and my teammate Sylvain Claude, and my sponsor Oxmoor for the beer.
You know, I think I think you're the only person that pronounces Chris's last name correctly. It's Chris Claude. As of course, for years I had Claude Giroux in the Philadelphia Flyers. So for me, it sounds just perfect from you. So listen, man, congratulations on the P3 finish. We'll see you next week at Gateway.
Perfect. Thank you, and good night, Dave.
Well, folks, another one in the books here in the TNN Tuesday Night NASCAR Truck Series. And what a finish we had. What a race we had, really, from start to finish. These drivers cranked up the crazy all night long to keep things interesting for us here at home and around the world and everywhere else who was tuning in tonight. One final look at our results here. Anthony Savignano captures the checkered flag for his second win of the season. Kavaja Holt climbs his way onto the podium tonight, finishing in P2, with Gabriel Lafreniere following them here on the podium. Chris Custer finishes in 4th with Brandon Minto rounding out your top 5. Randall Watkins finishes in 6th with Daniel Moynihan, Rich Jett, the double natural, Brandon Hinton, and Ryan Rose in the 85 rounding out your top 10. 11th position goes to Ron Fitting with Sylvain Jolie in 12th. Diego Rodriguez in 13th position with Alexander Gangler in 14th. Tane Hodison finishes 15th with Steve Herring in 16th. Mitchell Davies and John Wilco come home in 17th and 18th as Wilco out of McAdoo, Pennsylvania gets the 62 up here, sealing himself into a top 20 finish. Chris Claude and Richard Pruitt round out your top 20 with the faster pastor Stoney Benfield going from the pulpit to the cockpit, comes home in 21st. Claude Furland comes home in 22nd with Michael Witt and Jeremy Paris in 23rd and 24th. Matt Mack and Mike McConville come home in 25th and 26th, while 27th and 28th go to Mason Hoffner and Ethan Eckert in the 11 machine. Nick Hansen finishes in 29th, with Ethan Ball coming home 30th. 31st goes to Tommy Gossett, while Noah Hamilton comes home 32nd. Matt Metler, my work wife, finishes in 33rd, with Ben Garrity and Jeff Carson rounding out the 35 drivers who took the green flag tonight. I want to thank everybody for tuning in to us here on Sim Racing Media. As always, it wouldn't be worth sitting here every night without you folks at home welcoming us into your homes, onto your phones, wherever you may be and however you may be listening. And tomorrow and every day as you walk down the road of life, please don't play in traffic. Good night, everybody.